The Labour Party have slammed Rishi Sunak's reshuffle. What a surprise. I don't know about anyone else. I'm shocked. I'm shocked they don't like the changes in the personnel, with the Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting calling the government a clown show. Yes, normal service has been resumed. Well, here's to talk about this and plenty more is Michael Jacobs. He's former Special Advisor to Gordon Brown when he was in office. Good morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, look, with Labour riding high in the polls, the latest Savanta poll showing Labour is 18 points ahead of the Tories. I don't suppose it really matters who's in the Tory cabinet, does it?
Nope.
There we are. Move on. Anyway, thank you for your time. But this is the thing. Do you think it moves the dial at all?
No, I think basically, most of the public don't know who's in the cabinet, apart from the Prime Minister. They might have heard of Suella Braverman, who, of course, is no longer in the cabinet because she's been making headlines. But for the vast majority of people, cabinet reshuffles really make no difference. It's only for the commentariat, really, who then try and spin stories around this. And clearly, the story being spun around this one is that somebody on the right of the party, Suella Braverman, is out. Somebody who is associated with the left of the party, David Cameron, is back in. I have to say, many people around the country won't think of David Cameron as a centrist or a lefty. This is the person who presided over austerity when public services were cut and so on. So I don't think for the public this really makes a blind bit of difference and won't change the polls in any way. And Labour is now well ahead and has been for a year. So this is just not going to change.
Yeah, that. I mean, I tweeted out yesterday, what does this actually achieve? What does this change? Is it going to mean a single person can pay their gas bill more easily or afford the supermarket shop, or that they're going to get their NHS operation quicker, or that a single, asylum seeker, illegal migrant on a dinghy is not going to arrive, the country's safer, the economy grows? There's just not a single thing that will actually change. And I do wonder why any politicians think, and Westminster bubble journalists think, that this, one of the reasons why I wanted to leave the lobby, actually, and is actually because this groupthink, either about people or indeed about the processes, they think that it does make a difference. When you were working for Gordon Brown, of course, there were personnel changes. I mean, Gordon Brown basically wanted the personnel change throughout. He wanted to be Prime Minister and Tony Blair to leave him that job. It was an incredibly sort of bitter time. We called it the TBGBs, when there was just briefing against constantly. Do you think that a government that looks, on the face of it, a cabinet that looks more united, without, say, Suella Braverman sort of effectively seen to be being critical of government policy whilst in the cabinet, and the government, the Prime Minister is seeming to be unhappy with her, do you think that at least has more appeal to the voter?
Well, I think if the cabinet were taken on its own, then yes, it's clearly better for the government that you don't have somebody like Suella Braverman in place, who keeps making statements that then other cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister, are asked about, and they, because they don't agree with the way she expresses things, they are unable to say that they support her. They keep using phrases like, well, I wouldn't use those words. And that immediately, insofar as people are focusing on this, immediately makes the public think, well, this is not a united cabinet, there are divisions. The problem is that the cabinet isn't the only player, and Suella Braverman, without any question, will say just as inflammatory things, probably more inflammatory, from the backbenches, and because the media like a good row, these will then get reported. So I don't think the Prime Minister will suddenly find that he has a united party behind him. I think, on the contrary, this will exacerbate divisions within the Conservative Party, and we will hear a lot more from Suella Braverman and some of her supporters, like Jacob Rees-Mogg, talking against the Prime Minister. And the one thing we do know about voters is they don't like divided parties. So none of this can be of any value to the Conservative Party and their election chances.
No, indeed. We've got actually pictures while you're speaking live on the show. We've got the cabinet meeting earlier this morning. Rishi Sunak, Sydney's got Jeremy Hunt to his left, the Chancellor. Opposite, of course, the new Foreign Secretary in David Cameron there. Lord Cameron, I have to say, Grant Shapps, we can see, and a few other well-known faces there. But again, I'm wondering if does this change the dial? Really good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, Michael Jacobs, former advisor to Gordon Brown when he was in office.